All right, should you intermittent fast to get healthy, or should you eat breakfast first thing when you get up, eat a lot of protein, and then eat every 2 to 3 hours as long as you're awake in order to stoke your metabolism? That's the question we're going to answer today, and the answer is probably going to surprise you. And this is coming from a text message that I literally just received minutes ago. And I'm going to read you the text message to sort of contextualize this, because I bet there's a lot of you out there who are just confused and conflicted about this as the person who sent this text message, okay? She says, "Hi, Matt, I'm still plugging away on my health journey, and I came across some conflicting advice, and I realized that you were probably one of the only people I knew and trusted to give me an honest answer. No rush to respond and no pressure either. I understand if you'd rather not give your input, but I had one person give me advice that in order to get healthy, I need to start intermittent fasting and only eat between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And then I had another person give me advice that said I should eat within an hour of waking up and make sure that I pound the protein hard first thing and then eat every 2 to 3 hours as long as I'm awake in order to keep my metabolism going strong. I find that I am feeling a bit paralyzed by this conflicting advice, just not really sure where to go with this information." Now, I'm sure a lot of you are just as conflicted with this thing as she is, so let's dive into it. Now, let me first just give the answer that neither one of the people that are giving her advice are really correct. One is probably directionally a little bit more helpful in their advice than the other, but they're both kind of wrong, okay? First of all, the assumption that they're both making is that in order for this person to get healthy, they need to do this thing. They either need to start fasting and only eat between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., or they need to eat breakfast and get a lot of protein early in the day and eat every 2 to 3 hours to stoke their metabolism to keep it going. Neither of those things is true. You don't have to do either one of those things to lose weight and to get healthy. And the reason for that is because there is one thing that matters when it comes to losing weight and getting healthy, and that is getting into a calorie deficit. Now, we can get into a calorie deficit in a lot of ways. One would be intermittent fasting, right? I lost a lot of my weight through the use of intermittent fasting as a tool. And now in maintenance, I actually still practice intermittent fasting most days, probably 6 days out of the week. Even in maintenance, I do that because it's a lifestyle that I really resonate with. It fits. I don't like to have to think about eating and making meals and stuff earlier in the day. I get to enjoy a little bit slightly bigger portions later in the day when I intermittent fast. There's so many benefits to intermittent fasting. It can be a very effective thing, and that's why a lot of people do recommend it. But is that the way to lose weight? It's not. It's a tool. It is one framework that can work to help you achieve a consistent calorie deficit if it resonates with you. So if you're a person who is like me and you get up in the morning and you've got a lot of stuff on your plate for the day and you're getting going and you're maybe not that hungry in the morning, you could eat, but you also could not eat. Maybe you could kind of take it or leave it when it comes to food earlier in the day. But you find that later in the day, as you get into the afternoon and the evening, that's when you like to eat. That's when you feel like you want to eat more. Then intermittent fasting can be an amazing thing for you from a lifestyle perspective. And that would make intermittent fasting an incredible tool for you because logistically it fits your lifestyle preferences, right? If you're someone who is a diabetic and you're trying to really work on your insulin sensitivity and your blood sugar regulation, there's an argument for intermittent fasting there. Even though there'll be a little bit of an adjustment period, it can actually be a really useful tool in helping to improve insulin sensitivity and blood sugar regulation and all that stuff there too. So there's a lot of good stuff there. Now, what if you're someone who really enjoys eating first thing in the morning? Maybe you wake up and you're hungry and you just enjoy eating. You enjoy breakfast foods in the morning. Maybe you like to have breakfast with your family. Whatever your reasoning is, you enjoy that, right? You like to have consistent breaks throughout the day to stop and eat a snack or to eat a meal. You like eating 3 meals and 2 snacks-ish spread out from the time you wake up through the time you go to bed. And if that's you, and that makes sense for what you enjoy, then waking up in the morning, having a high protein breakfast and eating every 2 to 3 hours throughout the day probably would make sense for you because it aligns with the lifestyle that you enjoy leading. Now, it doesn't matter whether you wake up and eat first thing in the morning or you intermittent fast and fast through breakfast and a snack and start eating around lunch and then fit all of your eating between, say, lunchtime and 6 or 8 p.m. We can, if the amount of calories you're eating is correct, especially in relation to the amount of movement and activity and the calories you're expending in a day, both can achieve the exact same calorie deficit and the exact same weight loss. And if the diet is balanced properly, meaning you're not consuming too many carbohydrates, too many fats, you're getting enough protein, all of that stuff, the result will be exactly the same. No difference, right? So one is not better than the other for everybody. It depends on the person. I love intermittent fasting. I will probably never not intermittent fast because it jives with who I am and my ideal day so much. I could care less about food in the mornings. Get me up, get me a hydration drink in, have some coffee with nice sweet coffee with some stevia and some premier protein in it for creamer. I can jam on that, and then I will have 0-calorie beverages for most of the morning, early afternoon. I will have lunch. I will sometimes have a snack between lunch and dinner. I will have dinner, and then I still have a meal and a snack worth of calories to play with in the evening time when I'm just chilling with the family and watching Netflix, and I want to enjoy some treats. Well, I've saved my breakfast calories and my early morning snack calories for later in the evening so that I can still enjoy them, and I don't get myself into trouble in the evenings, and I've made that work for me, right? But if I'm someone who wakes up in the morning and I'm ravenously hungry, and if I don't eat, I'm like really on the mental and emotional and physical struggle bus, then I wouldn't recommend intermittent fasting for you, right? So neither one of these is right or wrong when fitted to the correct person, okay? Now, other thing I want to address with one of these, which is the idea that you need to wake up, eat within an hour of waking up and pound the protein hard and eat every 2 to 3 hours as long as you're awake in order to keep your metabolism going strong. That is complete hogwash. I mean, that is like 20 years old BS when it comes to, that has been so disproven by this point in time. It's old news, right? Anecdotally, research has proven this isn't the case. Now, again, I go back to lifestyle. If you're a person who enjoys eating first thing when you wake up, if you enjoy eating every 2 to 3 hours, if you have blood sugar regulation issues and you are prone to hypoglycemic episodes and things like that, you may need to do that, right? There might be reasons why you would choose to do that and why you would desire to do that. But there is that whole idea of eating to stoke your metabolism is not really factual. Yes, when we eat food, there is what's called the thermic effect of food, which means that when we eat and we chew and we digest food, it burns calories, right? But we're going to burn the same amount of calories whether we're eating and spreading that volume out between 3 meals and 2 snacks from the time we wake up until the time we go to bed, or we eat it all within a 4-hour period. The calorie input is the calorie input. It doesn't matter. I could take a person who eats 1,200 calories starting at 6 a.m. in the morning and ending at 8 p.m. at night, and I could take another person and give them 1,200 calories between the hours of 4 p.m. and 8 p.m., and if their activity levels were equal, they both would lose weight at the exact same rate. No difference, right? So we need to kill. We need to put just bury this thing of you have to eat to stoke the metabolism. And if you don't eat to stoke the metabolism frequently when you're awake, that you'll go into starvation mode. That is complete hogwash. Absolute hogwash. So we need to let go of that. It's not factual, right? We have coached hundreds of people at this point of my career and utilized both methodologies with the exact same results. And the only thing that we had to do was make sure that the calories in and the calories out were in alignment. and it worked no matter whether we were fasting or not. Okay. So to wrap this up, think about what your preferences are. Think about whether you are a person who likes to get up like me and not really have to worry about cooking, eating a meal. You just want to have some coffee, hydrate, maybe have some low calorie or 0 calorie beverages for enjoyment, but you just want to get to work and be productive and go from one thing to the next and worry about eating later in the day. Totally cool. And maybe you're also like me, and because you don't want to eat earlier in the day, you'd rather save those calories for later in the evening when you're hanging with your family and watching Netflix and still be able to enjoy some of that stuff, but later in the day. Really works really well. Or maybe you're the other person and you really like to have a very traditional 3-meal, 2-snack spread, a breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, bed. It's really all down to preference. As long as you make sure that your calorie intake and your calorie output are where they need to be in relation to each other to produce a calorie deficit or calorie maintenance or a calorie surplus, if that's what you're going for, then there will really be negligible difference, if any difference, when it comes to actual results. And if we properly align the right strategy to the right person, the results will always be great. But if we misalign the wrong strategy to the wrong person, meaning I have someone who really loves to eat breakfast first thing in the morning, and then I try to force them into intermittent fasting, that's not going to end well, right? And same thing if I go the other way, someone who really, wants to be like me and be productive and save their calories for later in the evening, and I try to force them eating breakfast in the morning, that's probably not going to end well either. So hopefully this has been helpful in cutting through some of the misinformation, some of the really old beliefs that are really outdated, have been disproven, not true at all, not helpful, but also helped you to get an idea of what really matters when it comes to deciding what protocol you want to follow. Hopefully this has been helpful. And if you are someone who, you're like, I don't want to figure all this stuff out on my own at all, then that's what our coaching program is for. So if you want if you want to be able to ask a coach like me or my other coaches on the team questions like this at will, any day, that's what we're here for. That's how we serve our clients. And we essentially walk our clients through figuring out what is the right fit. What should we be eating? How much? How do we get ourselves into a calorie deficit without tracking calories and macros? That's literally what we do with our clients every day at Healthy and Whole. So if that's you and you want help figuring it out, then reach out to me. As always, we're always here to help the people who are ready to be helped. So hopefully this has been helpful. We'll end it here. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.